right, so without further ado, this is the ElectroNeek platform live tech demo. We have Thiago Carlucci, myself here as Global Campaign Marketing, and also Ivan Ramos, our sales engineer, that will give us the demonstration today, okay? So the agenda that we have, just a very quick intro for you guys, and then the live tech demo that Ivan will take us through. And we'll have a Q&A session at the end. So make sure that you drop your questions either in the chat or in the Q&A section that you have there. And we'll take those questions at the end, okay? So without any further ado, I pass the word to Ivan. Ivan, you can take us on this journey through the platform. So I will stop sharing my screen and you can go ahead and share from your side.
Perfect, Thiago. Thank you so much. So just like Thiago mentioned, feel free to send in your questions while I'm presenting the platform at any given point. So first of all, thank you everyone for coming. Today we'll be giving a tech demo of the entire ElectroNeek platform. So first of all, this is the account portal, the ElectroNeek account portal. And this is where you can access all of the products of the ElectroNeek platform. As you can see, the portal is divided between the three main hubs of our platform, which are the pillars of our solution. We have the automation hub, which contains all the tools for building and deploying workflows, that is our bots. Business hub, which contains assets for building and improving on your RPA business, such as go-to-marketing strategy and much more, including a reselling module. And Service Hub, which contains all the supports related to, all the features, related to support, such as the support center, community forum, and more. I will be going deeper into each one of these hubs, starting with the Automation Hub. So in the Automation Hub, our three main products are Studio Pro, Bot Runner, and Orchestrator, and I will show them in more depth. So Studio Pro, right here in the portal, this is where you can download Studio Pro, and I will be showcasing the application itself in a moment. But Studio Pro is our IDE. It's our integrated development environment. It's a low-code, no-code, drag-and-drop based environment where you can build and create the workflows that you will be executing. These workflows can then be exported to executable files, or they can be uploaded to the orchestrator. But in order to run those workflows, you need to install Bot Runner on a machine. Bot Runner is also a Windows application, just like Studio Pro, and it's an agent that's necessary for the execution of a workflow on a certain machine. This component, the Bot Runner, does not require a license, and every single ElectroNeek partner gets unlimited Bot Runners. And finally, we have the Orchestrator, which is fully cloud-based, does not require a local install, so it can all be managed right here from the web browser, and I will be showcasing each one of its sections. Orchestrator is a bridge between Studio Pro and Bot Runner, because the workflows that you build on Studio Pro can be published to the Orchestrator and then deployed to your Bot Runners from the Orchestrator. Right, so in the first section of the Orchestrator, which is the dashboard, this is just a very quick summary of everything that's going on in this Orchestrator. Then the Workflows tab contains the information of every single workflow that has been published from Studio Pro over to this Orchestrator. For every single one of these workflows, that includes not only the history of executions for that workflow, also the ability to set up email alerts, collect logs for those executions, and assign bot runners, and even set up many different ways of executing those bots, such as schedules, webhook links, and even a button to manually run this bot right now. As you can see, as I just mentioned, you can assign the bot runners that you want this workflow to be running on. And in order to first set up those bot runners, you can do that in the bot runners section of the Orchestrator. Right here, you can set up your bot runners via access tokens that generate right here. There is no limit to how many tokens you can generate. And once you have generated those tokens and you connected them to the bot runner local application, you just need to quickly approve your bot runners, and then you can manually manage each one of them. So this section of the Orchestrator is great for managing exactly how many bot runners you have deployed and specifically in which customer you have them as well via the tokens. And the integration stuff of the orchestrator provides many different interactions that the orchestrator can perform with external applications. For example, we have an API within the orchestrator that will allow you to create your own integrations, allowing you to execute workflows from external applications, also manage your executions and manage your bot runners as well. And we also have a pre-built connector on Zapier, which is an automation platform that has thousands of connectors for the most common tools out there in every single industry and every single business function, such as Slack, Teams, Salesforce, Gmail, Outlook, and every other application. And you can very easily set up triggers for your workflows to run in this orchestrator based on the actions that happen on those applications. Right. So that would be a quick tour of Orchestrator. Now I will be showcasing Studio Pro, which I have open right here. So to quickly recap, Studio Pro is a local application, runs on Windows, and this is our IDE. This is where you build the workflows. So in order to get started, you can either create a project and start developing a real bot, or you can enter playground mode just to play around the interface or just test a quick bot. In this case, I will be opening that mode. As you can see right here in the middle, we have what we call the canvas of Studio Pro. This is where you build the workflow itself, and the building blocks of your workflows are the activities. You can see right here on the left that we have the activities section, which holds many categories of activities depending on which function they perform. So for example, in the general logic section, we have many different activities that will be applicable to any workflow, such as the ability to open an application. And in order to add this to our workflow, we just drag it in. The ability to assign a variable as well. And for example, an if-then condition. And as you can see, I simply drag them into my canvas, and now I can drag them freely and connect them freely via these nodes. And in order to customize these activities, I just need to click on them and go to the properties tab on the right, where I can customize exactly which properties I need for this specific activity. So for example, in the open application activity, I need to set up which application I will be running. In the case of an assigned value to variable activity, I can set up the variable name, such as test, and the variable value, such as this one. And we also have a variables tab right here that will contain all the variables that I'm working throughout my workflow. And of course, some activities, such as the if-then condition, will have different branches depending on whether the condition that we're checking is true or false. Right. Then just a quick overview of the different types of activities that we have. As we mentioned, the general logic ones are the ones that will be most commonly used in any workflow, including loops, if conditions, the ability to write to console, and so on. Human in the loop activities allow for human interaction and turning your bots into attended bots by allowing a human to input information into a bot. Then we have GUI automation activities, which allow you to interact with any desktop application via their interface and performing activities such as clicking on elements, sending text to them or sending hotkeys, or interacting with their interface via obtaining properties of certain elements, positions, checking if an element is found, and so on. The OS automation section contains activities that allow you to work with files and folders within the operating system, such as copying, moving, deleting, and so on. You can also work with credentials. Our application interacts directly with the Windows credential vault. And if your workflows require credentials, you don't need to store them somewhere unsafe or have a human manually input them. You can use these activities and the credential management section of Studio Pro for them. You can also manipulate the clipboard, read from it, or edit its content. You can execute command prompts from Windows as well in this section. There's a variety of Microsoft Office activities, shortcuts to work with Microsoft Word, for example, and also Microsoft Excel. You can perform any activity that you need in Excel, such as reading, writing, adding, removing columns, and so on. There's also integrations for Microsoft Outlook and Office 365 in the case of the email servers. Web automation performs the same type of activities as GUI automation, only in a web browser and within elements within web browsers. And it has some exclusive features, such as the ability to work within iframes, execute JavaScript code in a website, and also scrape structured data, which is an activity in the beta stage at this moment. There's a programming section that allows you to input JavaScript code directly into the bot and also execute Python code. Of course, this is not required for every workflow, but this is one more tool that you can use and advanced users can leverage as well. You can connect to APIs via the HTTP request activity and connect directly to certain types of databases via these databases activities. You can also use the email activities to read emails or send emails, and of course, filter the emails that you find in an inbox by, for example, date or sender or subject. And there's also the document processing section, which includes integrations with many traditional OCR engines, such as the ones that you see here. This includes the Microsoft and Google Cloud OCR engines, which are included within the platform. There's a certain amount of pages that are included. And the other engines that you can see here, such as Abby, Clip, and NanoNets, and so on, you can very easily integrate with them, but you would require an external license. And there's also an activity to work with our native IDP solution called IntelliDocs, which provides not just traditional OCR, but intelligent recognition and extraction of the documents. And that is our own solution that you can also find within the Automation Hub or of the portal. Right, this is just a very quick look at what can be done in Studio Pro. I will now show you a specific bot. I would like to show you an example of that bot, first running it, and then showing you exactly what how it's built. So let me very quickly close this and show you the RPA challenge bot. So first, let's quickly run this and show you how it works. So what this bot will do is it will open a certain page called RPA challenge, and it will perform a lot of actions very, very quickly by inputting data that is extracted from an Excel spreadsheet into that website, and then submitting that data and getting the results, including the time that this process took, right? So we can see right here that this workflow is built in this way. It is first reading an Excel file that was downloaded actually from the RPA challenge website earlier. We are removing empty rows from that table, then saving that table to a variable that we have called table. Then we are opening the URL to the RPA challenge, right? This is the one. We can open it as it looks initially. Then we are clicking on the start button right here, and then performing a loop that for each row of the Excel file will input the data for the first name, the last name, the address, the company name, the role in company, the phone number, the email, and then it will click on the submit button. And of course, the challenge is that these items will change every single time that we click on the submit button. You can see that they are changing not only their positions, but also their sizes and so on. But of course, the strongest part of RPA is that we can detect the elements via specific properties, such as, for example, their tag names or the class names. And in that case, we can find that object, even if it's changing positions, even if its size changes, even if other aspects of that item changes. So that is exactly how we were able to capture all of these elements without needing to modify the bot every time that the objects change. So if we run this again, we will see exactly how this was done. We will see that even though the placement of the objects is completely random, the bot will work correctly every single time. And this message is shown. And the only thing that we are doing after this loop is getting that message, that final message, and writing it over to the console that we can see right here. Right, so that is the RPA challenge bot, and that will be all for Studio Pro. I will now return to the portal and show you some other features, the last features of the Automation Hub very quickly. So we have very recently added a recipes section. These recipes are pre-built use cases that we have built for you to explore. As you can see, you can filter them depending on the technology that they are using, the specific industry that they are servicing, the departments within those industries that will take advantage of these use cases. And every single one of these use cases is included within every plan of the ElectroNeek subscription. And they all include, as we can see, if we open one of them, they will all include a very quick description of what the workflow is, a demo of how the bot runs once it has been fully built. That also includes a step-by-step guide on how to build that workflow yourself, and not only a text version, but also a video version of that guide. And you can also even download the bot yourself and not only use it internally and run it with very, very slight modifications, but also use it as a base or a template for your future developments as well. So there's dozens of these recipes, and you can leverage them for not only for yourselves, but also for showing them as proof of concepts to your prospects, and also, of course, for using them for leveraging internally, and also for learning and for your technical resources to very quickly learn how to use specific features of the platform. And then finally, we have within the Automation Hub, we have the IntelliDocs section. And as I mentioned, this is our IDP solution. And right here, you can manage your document streams, which are basically API keys that you can individually manage for every single one of your customers, manage their use of these of the pages that they are consuming the IntelliDocs, and also the limits that you want them to have for that page consumption. You can also very easily deactivate every single one of these streams and create unlimited streams as well. So really, this is the only IDP solution built specifically for service providers. Right, that would be all for the Automation Hub. I would like now very quickly to show you the Service Hub as well as the Business Hub. So the Service Hub contains the Support Center. This is the main page of the Support Center, of the Service Hub. And this is where you can contact our support team and then follow up on those tickets. So when you create a ticket, you can select the type of ticket that you're opening, of course. And there's many different ways of interacting with support. You can simply ask a question. You can request a specific feature that the platform currently does not have and you would like to see. You can report an issue, the traditional type of break and fix support, where something didn't go right and something's not executing correctly. So you report that to support and they provide a solution. But we also have a type of support that is exclusive and that that is not only reactive, but is proactive as well, which is called development support. Development support is available only for the first project in the bronze package and is unlimited starting with the silver package. And what this type of support means is that you can request the support of a development consultant throughout the building of your workflows, and they will provide development support, just like as the name implies. They will provide best practices. They will be able to help you with the actual building of the workflows. This isn't about, of course, hiring a developer from us. The projects will still be led by your team, but this will be an invaluable resource coming directly from ElectroNeek that will help you throughout every step of the way as you build these workflows. So it's a very different type of support as the traditional break and fix support, which you of course also have, and that's what the other types of tickets are for, particularly the product issue. But development support is also a very key part of our platform right now, and it's also a very interesting offering for MSPs, as they can have an official resource from ElectroNeek, assisting them throughout the projects, which is especially useful as you get started, especially for those MSPs, which are only now entering the RPA space. Right. Within the Service Hub, we can also access the community forum. So the community forum is where the ElectroNeek community of users can connect. They can answer questions and reply to questions as well. You might be able to find the answer to a question before you even ask it to support, or you ask it to other users. You might find it already answered right here in the forum, or you can answer it yourself. Our team is constantly monitoring these questions as well, and we are answering them. We try to answer them usually within the same day. As you can see, you can find my face right here answering some questions in the forum. And it's really a great way to interact with other users and find what methods of automation they are using, and what is their approaches to automating certain processes as well. Then we have the Help Center. Help Center is our documentation portal. This is where you can find every single technical detail about the platform. There's guides for new users. For example, in the Getting Started section, there's a guide for developers who are just getting started and for administrators who are just getting started. And there's many other guides and features as well, including an article for every single activity, which you can also access directly from Studio Pro. For example, if I click on this specific activity and click the Learn More on Knowledge Base button, this will take me to an article on the Help Center that will explain exactly what this activity does and how to use the parameters of that activity. So Help Center contains this information for every single activity that we have within the platform, the same type and this level of detail for every single one. And that's not all, of course. There's information on every single product within the platform, both Automation Hub products, but also Business Hub products, and also some links to other Service Hub features such as the Support Center and the Community Forum. This also includes a Q&A, release notes, API documentation, and much more. So you can very easily just search for a topic here, for example, database, and find not only on an FAQ section on databases, on the article on the Connect to Database activity, and even a common issue that might be found with databases and how to troubleshoot it and solve it. So there's much more information, of course, if you click on the search button right here. Those are just the previews, but everything so Help Center is a great first resource to always search for information on technical information on the ElectroNeek platform. Finally, we have the ElectroNeek Global YouTube channel. Here you will be able to find lots of different contents, such as these webinars, like the one that we're having here, other webinars, of course, on other topics. For example, there's a very interesting, a couple of very interesting webinars on IntelliDocs specifically, and there's workshops, there's tutorials, there's specific tips that you will be able to find right here as well. So I really recommend checking out this channel as well and subscribing to it. Finally, going back to the account portal, we have the Business Hub, which contains a module on reselling. So all of our partners have the ability to resell Orchestrator and Studio Pro to their customers if their projects required. And that includes a discount percentage where you can get part of that revenue from that resell. And you also have the ability to generate trials of Studio Pro and Orchestrator for your prospects or your customers as well. And then we have Campus and Wiki within Business Hub. Campus contains exclusive learning materials built by our marketing team that can help your team improve on your business practices related to the RPA, your RPA business, or even help you create your RPA business from the ground up. And you can see these are divided depending on which part of the journey you're on, if you're on the marketing journey, executive journey, sales journey, or just getting started. And you have different courses for those specific journeys. And there's also Wiki, which contains supporting materials for those journeys as well, which includes blueprints and templates and calculators, for examples, for helping you out throughout every single part of the business process, specifically tailored for every part of that that journey, right? So you will find that many different parts of content within campus will have some content in wiki as well that will help you complement that part of the platform as well. Right. So that would be the overview of the ElectroNeek platform. I believe we can now jump over into Q&A and check the questions and answers.
All right, perfect, Iva. Thank you so much for that presentation. Very good information for everybody. Guys, please go ahead and place your questions here, either in the chat or the Q&A. Let me, while we are waiting for that, let me quickly share my screen again so that we can go ahead and check out the QR code. All right, so I have a QR code here for you guys. Go ahead and scan that QR code. And we have our people standing by to book a meeting with you today. Okay, we'll let you know on a more one-to-one basis how ElectroNeek can support your business. So take a few seconds and scan that QR code and talk to one of our account executives about how we can support you today. Okay. Iva, I don't see any questions here. One thing that comes up a lot is about the different packages that we have. Yeah, so you know that we have bronze, silver, and gold. Can you tell us a little bit, Iva, from the technical side, what is the difference between those three packages? Yeah.
Of course, yes. Bronze is typically more catered toward those companies who are only getting started with RPA and are looking into just having the basic features. So you have one developer seat, that would be one Studio Pro seat. You have part of the content in the Business Hub and certain features, for example, the API within the orchestrator and IntelliDocs are not available in the bronze package. Also, development support, as I mentioned before, is only limited to an initial project. And, you know, starting with the silver package, not only do you have unlimited development support, you also get access to IntelliDocs, and you get a certain amount of starting pages as well. You also get the orchestrator API. And of course, you get one additional developer seat as well. And there's also a certain amount of users additionally within the platform itself that you can add. So if you want to add, for example, more Business Hub users that will be able to consume the content on Business Hub, you can also add more users in the silver plan. And of course, this increases in the gold plan, right? The gold plan has all the features of the silver plan, plus other abilities, for example, the white labeling of Bot Runner and other specific features that, of course, we can help you understand better in a demo. But of course, you know, you have additional developer seats as well and additional platform users as well in the gold plan. But most of the features that are included within so all of the features included in silver, of course, are included in gold, but you know, there's more seats specifically for developers and users.
Great, awesome. And we got a question here from Vinicius Damasio. Which databases can we connect?
Right, that's a great question. So we have native integrations for SQL Server, Oracle, PostgreSQL, and MySQL, right? So those are the four native connectors, but that doesn't mean that if your database exists on another server type, you can't connect to it. Those are the native connectors, but for example, we have used a Python library to connect to Mongo database. That's a very common type of alternative database that is, you know, not the one of the four that I mentioned. And basically any way of interacting with the database that you already have, like that could be a library, that could be an application, a client application, a bot will be able to interact with that as well. Of course, the big benefit of using one of the four native integrations is that you don't need any intermediary app or a library or anything else. And the execution of queries can be done directly on the workflow without any additional steps.
All right, sounds good. Cool. All right, we don't have any additional questions here, but I do want to ask Carolina if you can kindly put in the chat the link to our next webinar. We have a webinar on IntelliDocs this Thursday, so you guys can go ahead and also participate on that one. Okay. Well, actually, there are more questions coming in here. Let me see. Does it support AI machine learning packages support?
Right. Yeah, that's actually a great question. We are currently integrating with, for example, OpenAI GPT engine via the API, right? The OpenAI API, and we're actually currently in the works for some specific activities that will integrate directly with features such as this ones, and we'll be announcing them and showing them off very soon. And but we do even have some recipes built within the recipe section that already leverage this integration. Those were built a couple of months ago, so they use GPT-3. But right now we're working on integrations with GPT-4 that will also allow us to integrate with future versions as well. So yeah, that's a very common use case, and we're currently leveraging it a lot, and it's opening up a lot of possibilities.
Okay, so now we're getting a lot of questions here, so bear with me. Which action using automate window application? Which action automate window application? Yeah.
If I understand correctly, that is referring to which activity would be used for automating a window, for example, a desktop window. That would be the GUI automation activities that allows you to, detect an entire window as an element or detect specific objects within the interface of that window as elements, and then perform any action of them on them. If it's a Windows, you can maximize it, minimize it, close it, activate it. And if it's an element within a window, you can click on it, send text to it, grab its properties, send hotkey to it, detect its position, detect whether or not it's on the screen. So you can perform any of those actions on any desktop window, as well as any element within a web browser as well, but that would be used the web automation activities and not the GUI automation activities.
All right, we'll take two more questions here. Is there options to do it automation in Citrix environment?
Right, of course, there's two options for that. If you have the ability to install Bot Runner inside the Citrix environment, of course, Bot Runner has very low requirements, and of course doesn't require a license. As we mentioned before, it's unlimited, so you could always install one there. If you have that option, you can run a bot natively inside that machine, because all it needs is a Windows session, and then you can interact with objects natively inside that environment. If you don't have that ability to install anything on the Citrix environment, in some cases due to security, or maybe because the Citrix environment is on a legacy version of Windows, such as XP, for example, then in those cases, you can automate via machine vision or surface automation activities, which detect objects on the screen, and you can basically identify those objects visually. So, for example, you can take a screenshot of a specific object and have the bot find that object and then click on this specific object on screen. And then if you need to extract information from that screenshot, you can very easily use OCR activities as well as IntelliDocs, but that would depend really on the use case. In our case, we do recommend running the bots locally inside the Citrix environment. We do support that, but even if it's not possible, you can work via the remote desktop.
All right, and then one last one here. Any use cases for healthcare and insurance?
Right, we do have some use cases. We actually have very recently refreshed our the use cases section of our website. I think we could probably link that here in the chat. We have a case, a very recently renovated case study section, which includes some specific ones that might be interesting. And also you can request, if you book a demo with us, you can we can show you specific demos that we have built for those type of customers, or even show you some recipes that you might be able to replicate yourself that would apply to those industries as well. So, for example, in healthcare, and insurance claim processing is a very common use case, and in those cases, IDP is a key component of a solution, because there's such a huge amount of claims usually, and those require such manual processing that being able to digitize them and extract their information safely and easily with the pre-built models within IntelliDocs is usually a great benefit in being able to automate those cases. But of course, there's many more, and we can show you more, of course, if you're able to book a demo with us.
Yeah, I just put here on the link on the chat as well, the link to the use cases page on the website. So you guys can go ahead and access that. All right, sounds good. Thank you everybody for joining. Thank you so much, Eva, for the rich information that you brought to us today. We do have a webinar again. We have a webinar on Thursday. Make sure that you guys sign up for that. We're going to talk about the IntelliDocs, which is our IDP solution. So thank you again for joining, and we'll see you on Thursday. All right. Cheers, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.